until they start policing themselves in a way that makes logical sense, I'm going to say that there are no good cops just in that sense.
Wow.
When they stop standing around twiddling their thumbs when a murder happens or when a cover-up happens and actually starts arresting each other, then I will believe that they're holding each other accountable. But right now, we get back from law enforcement when there's a public perception of a wrong against them is we've investigated ourselves and determined that there's been no fault. And I think that's a cultural problem within law enforcement.
Do you think that the liability issue for these cities with police departments has every bit of an impact on the determinations when they say that, oh, we're not at fault, and they use every bit of their resources of the judiciary and to make sure that they don't, they're not in a position to where they get sued. They have to defend themselves as a corporate entity. And that actually, go ahead. Absolutely correct, Pete.
The thing is that if you say you're sorry, that's admitting that you're liable for the action. There's all sorts of legal barriers that protect law enforcement from any kind of scrutiny. They have their own special bills of rights depending on which state they live in, and they have qualified immunity.
Yes.
They have armies of city attorneys that will represent them. And basically, they're only allowed to express themselves in talking points that conform to what the city attorney and their union reps are telling them to say. And, so you'll get no, I'm sorry that was an accident kind of thing. Yeah. If you look at the Law Enforcement Officers' Bill of Rights or the various versions of them around the country, Pete, you will see that them enjoying any of their special bills of rights can't be ridiculed. So what that has done is created an environment to where there can't be city halls and city government have a real hard time establishing community oversight boards because of the nature of the relationship between the police unions, the municipality they live in, and their special bills of rights, barring the creation of civilian oversight boards, and that's a big problem.
You know what? Let's push the pause button here, and let's go to this video and this post that you put up on steemit. This is the topic of the, okay, why did it just come off the screen here? Hold on one second. Here it is. Here it is. There was a police shooting. And this post, actually, we will provide this link in today's episode. The police actually murder John Elefritz. No judge, no jury, just bullets. And Mike BlueHair writes, I will be breaking down this video and all the evidence of what I believe to be a police murder in detail. For the sake of context, here is the video showing Elefritz being gunned down by trigger-happy cops. And, I'm going to have to tell you, there are two different sides to this story, but the visual imagery is one-sided. When you see this, and I describe something to you. Now, he's going to give you the context of this, but I just want you to be, without knowing what's happening here, just want you to watch the visual imagery of what happens here at this homeless shelter. Here we go.
Get out from behind them! Hey, come on! You in?
Oh my God, please God. I am. Oh my God. Oh my.
Dude, it's uncomfortable again to watch. Once again, and we'll probably go back to this. This is what we're talking about. Now, we're not going to talk about. I am going to weigh in back to when I originally watched this, and I said, okay, before these guys even get through the door, when they suit up and they show up for work, what is their mindset when they do that? We'll talk about that outside of the details of this case. Tell us who this guy was that they just shot and killed.
His name was John Elifritz, and he was a fella that had a lot of problems, whether it's mental illness or drug addiction or a combination of both. His family has gone on record stating that he had addiction problems. He was in treatment for methamphetamine, and I'm not gonna defend the guy's character because honestly, there's two murders when police murder somebody in America. First, there's the actual physical murder, and then there's the attack and murder of their character in the media. But basically, he was an alleged, and I'm pretty sure that he actually did it by all the evidence that I've looked at. But earlier in the afternoon, he had a mental breakdown or a psychotic break or something, and called the police and said his family had been murdered. Police show up and investigate and find out that that's not true. But when they approach him, he holds a knife to his throat and says he's going to kill himself. Well, instead of putting Elifritz on a mental health hold or having other officers stage a perimeter around him and call our crisis intervention team, which they're supposed to, and take this person into custody and put them in an institution where they can get help from, psychologists and stuff, they decided to just leave him there on the corner. So a number of hours pass, and Elifritz, according to all the mainstream sources, carjacks a car, an SUV, drives all over town, and then crashes the car. And he's standing in a doorway a few blocks down from the homeless shelter where he was where he ended up being murdered, and he was holding a knife to his throat there. So this guy definitely had to be stopped. My issue is the manner in which he was stopped.